It's a small church, a very small church. I mean, I was coming out of a church that had, 100, 200 people every Sunday. And now I'm in a church that if we pushed 75, we had a good turnout. I was the first woman that church had called in years.
Wow.
Yeah. I became, by the time I left, the longest tenured pastor that they had in years.
Wow.
So we have a call process where you're interviewed a gazillion times. And then when they finally decide they want you as their candidate, you then have to go for a weekend where another bunch of meetings and interviews with the average parishioner.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to preach a sermon, and then they vote on it. So I didn't get a lot of pushback. There was a couple of people that you could tell they weren't comfortable with having a woman, but they called me. And the first few weeks I was there, probably the first 6 months I was there, every once in a while somebody would be there in worship that wasn't a member and wasn't actually a visitor, because my people would say, oh, well, she goes to the Methodist church or he goes to the Presbyterian church. And we figured out that, well, one of them told me, well, I just wanted to come and see what a woman pastor was like. Do you have horns or, well, what's different about you? But anyways, overall, I would say generally the church and the community were very accepting. The pushback I got, which surprised me, was from women.
Kidding.
Yeah. There were some women, I'd say at the time in their 60s, and I think it was, how come she gets to do this? It wasn't available to us, sort of thing. But, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I did get to the point when a couple of people would push me. I said, look, I am not going to debate whether or not I should be in ministry. Not going to debate it. Mm-hmm. I will discuss my call. I will discuss my theology with you, but I am not going to debate my right to be here.
Exactly.
Yeah. And things went pretty well from there. They ran the Heart Store, which was a little general store. It did have a butcher, but the rest of it was general food stuff. And it was very, the floor was wood. If you wanted cheese, my grandfather got his knife out and cut it off the block of cheese for you. You picked up your own bunch of grapes. It was quite the general store in many ways. I can still go through that store, the two big aisles, and I remember where things were. And the most exciting time for me at the store was around Christmas time, because my grandfather would get these huge presents. They were all boxed up, and there was usually, a cowboy set or a garage gas station, dolls, and you would look at it and you'd decide which one you wanted so that you could tell Santa Claus. My mom worked at the store, so I was there quite often, and they had a very interesting checkout system in that there was one counter, the old-fashioned cash registers where you had to really push them down, and then the two carts would meet in the middle. The two clerks would take care of each order, and then sometimes the stock boys would take the famous Hart's wagon and pull the groceries to the person's house. So it was really full service back then. And most people didn't pay cash. I remember back, this would have been probably in the late 50s, you would just write down what they bought. And at the end of the month, my grandfather would send out bills and people would come in and pay them. I don't think that would go over too well today.
No.
But it was just a nice atmosphere. I always loved being in the store, being on Main Street. There was always something happening on Main Street. They had the pleasure shop, which was a candy store and comic books. And then, of course, we had the candy kitchen where the Panaritas made their own ice cream and their own chocolate. And it was incredible. Unfortunately, when the fire hit in 1960, that destroyed Main Street, even though my grandparents had already retired and sold the store, it just felt like a lot of memories died, burned up at the same time, so that it was no longer the gathering place. We always could find somebody we knew on Main Street, and that kind of has gone by the wayside, but I think that's probably happened everywhere as, you know.
How did you find the community when you had moved back? Would it change? Would it stay the same?
Well, it was different. It was big, much
Mhm.
bigger than when I was here. I mean, we were no longer cow country out here.
Right.
That was obvious. The school system alone was so much bigger. That high school is huge. As you said, there's like 4 students.
I think I might have underestimated. I think it's
I
probably
think you
the
might have
truth.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just, yeah. I mean, so that was big. Some of the houses I lived in don't look much different. That was nice. Let's see, what else was going on here? Well, obviously, the people that were the adults when I was growing up, some of them have already passed. Some of them are very elderly now. So that was, you know, they're supposed to stay the same.
Right.
Yeah. But it also, at the same time, it was fun to see everybody again. And a lot of people, you know, when I lived here, everybody knew me. When I came back, very few people knew me.
Well, I think then your desire to get back involved in the Hilton community, I think you first started off with was it the Parma Hilton Historical Society, or was it the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go into that a little bit and how you edged your way into that. Not edged, I guess it sounds kind of like intrusive, but how'd you get yourself back involved?
Yeah, both feet again.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something when I got back to the community. I mean, I'm officially retired, and I thought, I'm not just going to, you know, I can't just sit and read all day or sit on my back porch. So I was thinking about things I wanted to do, and I love history. I would have loved to have been a history professor. That would have been another calling I would have enjoyed. And I knew Dave Crum. Dave Crum actually was my daughter Courtney's professor at RIT in the hospitality management program. So we knew Dave. Of course, I knew Dave from before and just got talking to him and, you know, was looking at what they offered. My cousin Todd had told me they offer really good programs. And so I joined the membership. And then, I don't know, probably a year or so after I had joined, they put out a thing in their newsletter. They were looking for a secretary. And I thought, wow, I can do that. You know? Silly me. So I volunteered to be secretary, which turned out to be a much bigger job than I had anticipated it to be. And, you know, I love the history. I love learning about Hilton. So much of the stuff I can remember some of it, and it's just, I don't know, it just makes me feel connected.
The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find